Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video going over my thoughts here on the Primal Shards being added to the game. I've kind of played since the very beginning, and I've been tracking offers and building offer calculators and all of that, so I want to get my thoughts out there, my first impressions on this Primal Shard being added to the game, and kind of go through some of the initial thoughts I'm having about this. It's been a crazy weekend. It was Labor Day holiday weekend here in America, and of course, I had internet issues that started on Friday afternoon over a holiday weekend, which has happened both times that I've had internet issues. So I've lived here in my current place for 2.5 years, and I've had like catastrophic internet issues twice. The first time it was July 4th weekend, and my internet went down on Friday afternoon, which means I couldn't get help until like 4 or 5 days later after the long holiday weekend. And then the same thing happened this time. They had to come in and replace my router. It just completely was out. I couldn't do anything to get internet. So that started on Friday afternoon, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then they could finally help me on Wednesday after catching up on everything and getting back in the office. So now we should be good to go, and we're back to normal. And even though I'm busy with like the Fateless stuff and the different games that I'm helping develop, there's also another one I'm developing on my own, but I should be back to a normal workflow here after the holiday with functionable internet. So it's time to get back in the loop and see what is going on here. I've noticed like a bunch of different thumbnails and stuff from YouTubers. There seems to be a lot of drama and a lot of hot takes around this like ruining the game and this being bad for the game and being overpriced and all of that. So I want to go through and see exactly what is going on here and just kind of like first react to these Primal Shards, and then over the course of the next week or so I'll really dive into pricing it in an offer calculator and talk about kind of like the long-term ramifications of this within the game and how it kind of compares to all the other stuff that we see in terms of shards and summoning rates and all of that. So first of all, my first initial impression here of the shard is that it is crazy that there are rares in these shards. So the way that Raid has always done it, there's always been 3 rarities in a shard. You can see that the mythical allows you to get the common, uncommon, or rare. The ancients and the voids allow you to get rare, epic, and legendary. But now on these primal shards, it would have been perfectly sensible to have them be epics, legendaries, and mythicals. But they have an 82.5% rare on the Primal Shard. Like, that just seems insane to me. Unless I'm missing something, unless I dive into the numbers more, maybe it'll make sense at that point, but I really don't understand why they added a 4th. And we saw with Sacred Shards, you couldn't even get rares. Sacred Shards are just epics and legendaries, but all of a sudden here with Mythicals, they go from 2 options to 4, and they add rares in there at an 82% clip, which seems really off to me for a Primal Shard. These things should have obviously been just epics, legendaries, and mythicals. You're already adding that 3rd thing on to the sacreds. Would have made a lot of sense to just kind of keep it at that rate. Now, also, it strikes me as super low. You can tell they're kind of building them as buffed up ancient void shard kind of things, because you have a double chance of getting epics and legendaries there at 16% and 1% respectively, and then you also have the chance of getting mythicals there. It's only 1 over 200. It's 0.5%. So still the top tier of the summon you're hoping for is exactly like an ancient and a void at 0.5%, but you're a little bit more likely to get the epics and the legendaries and a little bit less likely to get the rares, but the rares shouldn't be in there at all. And then they're also adding this Primal Quartz resource where you can kind of acquire it and then use it to build shards out of it. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Actually, on the surface, I like that. I think it would be cool if these would drop in like dungeon runs. So the more you play the game, the more shards you get and stuff like that. So I think it's a cool way to go about it. And I think as long as it's implemented properly, which is always a huge caveat, I do actually like the Primal Quartz as a resource being added to the game to help people have a little bit more of a consistent way to acquire these shards and add them to their account and give themselves some more opportunities to pull for these mythical heroes. But hopefully we don't just get Primal Quartz from offers. I'm sure it'll be in some of like the summon rushes and things like that where you can get Primal Quartz. But also, if I move my camera, you can see that I have a Primal Shard here, so we're able to go ahead and rip that pretty soon here on the account. So I'm glad. I think they're giving us 2 of the shards here on the little deal here where you get them over time over the course of 3 days. I do like that. I like how they're giving them away for free and allowing people to have the hyped up moment of pulling these and being introduced to that new mechanic. So I do have to give them credit for that. That is cool that they are giving out a couple of these shards for free to the whole player base. And then in terms of the first pack that I'm seeing here for Primal Shards, we've got 3 for 25 USD, and that is time gated over the course of 3 days. So 3 for 25, and that's probably going to lean towards a little bit more of like a good price in their eyes because it's like a hot deal. So these things are probably going to be floating between like $7.50 and $10 a piece, depending on how you acquire them. Your average pack will probably be something like 5 for 50 bucks or something. You know, we see all sorts of different offers based on how long it's been since you've spent and the different spending tier that you're in, but these will be somewhere around $10 a piece is probably where they'll settle in, and I think that's way overpriced given the fact that they have like an 83% chance of getting rares, and it's only still that 1 over 200 of getting the top level summon out of the shard. But similar to the way that they did the skins being added to the game, they started them out at like $50 a piece, and then they slowly lowered them. They're probably thinking in their head that it's a horrible PR move to raise the price on these. So if anything, they're going to want to start them at a higher price and then trickle that price down a little bit. They did the same thing with Soul Stones. They've kind of been slowly cheapening the blessing mechanic and kind of helping settle in the market to where they can sell more of them. So they're going to do the same thing here. They're probably going to start with these things being like $10 a piece. I bet you that they eventually end up coming down to about $5 or $6 a piece is where the sweet spot will be, where they get like the most revenue and the most people buying the packs. I think right now they're going to be a little bit overpriced. And I did also want to go through and rate the different mythical champions here that were added to the game. There's 5 of them. I did a dedicated video on Siegfried the Nephilim, and the too long didn't watch is he's going to be like a top 3 champion. He's just absolutely cracked out S tier in my opinion. We did the poll, and you out there, the viewers, graded him as 64% S tier with some A's and B's and C's. I don't know what 35% of you were thinking, but I love you nonetheless, and you know, I would have to disagree with you on that one. I think he's very obviously S tier as a champion, especially having like the 2 different versions and all of that. But 64% S tier from the audience is definitely one of the highest I've ever seen in terms of a champion being added to the game. So I would say so far in the 1 dedicated champion that I did grade out, Siegfried is kind of carrying enough weight to justify being a mythical champion. I'll have to look over the other 4 and get a video out on my thoughts on them as well to see if they're all as good as Siegfried. But let's go ahead and rip this Primal Shard here. I do love the shards. They look super cool. The Primal Shards definitely, they have a little bit more of a jagged edge to them. So they look kind of new and different and exciting. I think they're even a little bit bigger. Yeah, it looks like they're a little bit bigger. So they did, I mean, Raid has a top-notch mobile art team. So no surprise there that the shards definitely look super cool. But let's predict. I'm gonna pull this shard and I'm gonna get some meme rare like crossbowman or something. I guarantee it. So here we go. Let's rip it. Our first Primal Shard, and there we go. And yep, I got a meme rare, a War Priest starting champion. So yep, pretty standard, and rares should not be in these shards in my opinion. That's kind of a big L right there on the shards. I would have just adjusted the rates. You can keep the mythicals at 0.5 or 1%, but these things should have a buffed up chance of epics and legendaries and have a different price as well. But we'll get a little bit more of a deep dive analysis on all that, and then I'll try to kind of more accurately predict what the whole Primal Shard market will settle in as. So hopefully your Primal Shards went better than mine. You know what? If there's enough of you watching this video, there had to be a few of you that got a, just out of the odds, like 1 over 200 of you are going to get a mythical champion. So you would think just like with the normal RNG. So let me know down in the comment section, did some of you get super lucky on these free Primal Shards and rip one of the new mythical champions right out the gate? That would be really fun to hear about down in the comment section. So hopefully I'm going to be back to producing some more videos, like 4 or 5, 6 videos a week, and get some of these new systems fine-tuned and talked about here on the channel to start covering the game a little bit more often, on top of the workflow that's going on with the different fate lists and game development type stuff. Still definitely want to be cranking out raid videos and all of that. So I appreciate all of you, and I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.